Instagram to kick on. Oh. So we're doing our first I'm going to do my first live taping of the podcast on the 27th. I think the 27th of July at She Shed, the one here. And then
God,
we're
I
going
love
to
that
alternate
She
it
Shed.
every month. We'll go do one out in the suburbs. And then I have Crystal Tran, who is great. She's awesome. And and Nina's really excited about it. So I'm excited for that.
That's
So
great.
we should be awesome. Okay. We are good. We are ready.
Excellent. All right. Hey, everybody. It's welcome to our episode of Coffee Talk with DJ and Risa. I think my coffee always tastes better when I'm drinking from my kale cup.
Morning. Good morning. All right. Hey. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee Talk. I'm DJ.
And I'm Risa. All right. I'm getting fired up with my caffeine here. We're talking this month all about open houses. It's an open house blitz month here at Kale Realty.
Yeah, all June long, we've been talking about how to level up your open house game, from getting them to marketing them to making them work for you. And if you missed our previous episodes, they are all on here on really all the social channels, but certainly Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We've kind of got them everywhere. So if you can't find us, let us know. We can always get you access, but please subscribe so you get these in person. But today is a really big one about open houses.
Today, we're talking about what to do the day of your open house, how to present it like a pro, capture real leads, and build relationships that'll turn into closings.
Yeah, let's be real. Like, if you're just showing up the day of with a few balloons, hoping people will magically become clients, you're really not doing it the best possible way.
And DJ and I were talking earlier before we even started this coffee talk, and the reality is open houses are a great way to get leads. But lots of agents choose not to do it, maybe because they had a bad experience. So we're giving you the systems and the ways to go ahead and make this a successful experience for you so you're getting leads. So let's talk about what happens the day of the open house. Okay, so we're going to give you the system and we're going to break it down step by step.
Absolutely. And Risa, you're absolutely right. I've been doing my podcast for 7 years now. I've got about 700 episodes, and I have yet to meet an agent who was a top 1% producer from anywhere in the country who said, yeah, I don't do open houses. Yeah. They all do them. I've really never, I can't remember one time where anyone said, yeah, they're just not worth it. So we know they're worth it, or at least top producers say they're worth it. So they must know something. So for all of us out there who aren't doing them or who don't necessarily want to do them, you're really missing out. So today we're going to talk about tip number 1, which is, and this is for the day of, non-negotiable. Ditch the paper sign-in sheet. Okay. We know that this is a common thing. It's been used in the past, but you really must have a QR code. That what it does is we want that QR code to link to Google Forms for some digital sign-in.
Everybody has to sign in. Everyone, no exceptions. This is for your leads. So if people are walking in and out without giving you their info, you're literally letting leads walk away. Digital forms are clean, trackable, and way more professional.
Absolutely. And if you're nervous about asking for someone's information, I have a little tip that you may want to consider using. When people say, well, do I have to sign in? Say, well, it's really important because for compliance reasons, I need to keep a list of everybody that walks in and out of the home. And that's probably true, right? Because the insurance companies certainly want to know who's coming in and out. So this is just a way for you to protect yourself and, make sure that the client feels comfortable giving that information. So number 2, another tip, bring your own brochure. Now I'm talking about your brand, not the listing agent's one pager, right? So if it's not your listing, right, if you're doing it for another agent, make sure you're bringing your brand stuff. So we have a company that we like to use for brochures and all sorts of sort of physical mailing or physical marketing material, which is called Express Docs. It's fast, beautiful, and sets you apart as the expert, even if it's not your own listing.
Okay. When you get to the house of the home that you're representing for the open house, there will be flyers with the listing agent's face and number on it. I'm going to tell you to hide those so that only your brand is being shown. When you're done with the open house, make sure you take those out of wherever you hid it. But the reality is you're not just showing a home at an open house, you're showcasing you. So professional marketing really leaves a lasting impression.
Yeah, and number 3, this is an easily overlooked one, but it's important, and it's called we call it refreshments and treats, right? So people love food. It softens the energy, makes people linger, which is a really you want people to linger. And here's a little hack. You can partner with someone on your dream team, like your lender or your attorney, your title company, your inspector, your appraiser, whatever, to help cover the cost.
Okay, yeah, totally. DJ, you got this. All right. It makes it feel collaborative, it shows your network. And speaking about marketing support,
Yeah, this is a big one. Make sure you put those branded open house signs with your name and your number in super visible spots, not just at the house, but down the block and on the corners. Now, I'll give you a little pro tip. I talked to an agent in Southern California who does hundreds and hundreds of open houses per year. His team usually does 20 of them every single weekend. So he's like the king of open houses. And he puts, and this is not an exaggeration, 50 signs for every single open house. Now that you might think that's too many. Well, maybe it is too many, but it works for him. But what if you just put 5 signs, 6 signs, 10 signs all up and down the block? Would it feel like kind of a big exciting event? It really would. So you want to just put it everywhere you can for traffic and recognition.
DJ, you're so right. It's about putting those signs out, but they have to be branded to you so that
Hmm.
your name becomes a household name. Everybody in the neighborhood's going to get to know you through seeing your signs.
Yeah.
Okay, here's tip number 5. All right, put out interest rate flyers in the kitchen. Our A&N mortgage partners can go ahead and create flyers for you so that people can see and visualize their affordability. Right? They've already done the math on these flyers, so it's really easy for them to see it. Today's interest rate, if they put down X percent, here's how much it's going to cost them.
Yeah, that's a really smart idea. And even if the person says, I already have a lender, I'm all set there, say, that's awesome. I always encourage people who are buying to get a backup offer as well. Just there are so many creative ways right now to get somebody through the financing process that it always helps to get someone else's opinion and just in case something happens. So yeah, our partners at A&N Mortgage, they're amazing. They have great reputations. They are really the perfect people to get that backup offer or that original offer too. So make sure you're putting their information out.
Not to mention, DJ, that the backup offer or the second look, I call it, might be a better or more competitive
Yeah,
rate, saving you or your client money. So don't you want to save money?
yeah, for sure, of course.
I think we got a couple more tips here, DJ.
Yeah, number 6, we're going to run a CMA of the property that you're currently doing the open house for. Now, why would we do that, right? We're going to well, by the way, before you do that, you're going to run it, you're going to print it, go have it printed at FedEx, and make sure you bring copies of that with you. Now, you're going to leave it out. Now, why is that? Because if someone's looking at that home for that open house, they're going to also be interested in other properties in that area. But if someone asks to take it, say you'd be happy to, so only have one copy, because if someone asks to take it, say, "Oh, I need this here for other people that are walking through, but I'm happy to give you your own copy when you meet to discuss their property." Smart, right?
That's super smart. I love that idea, DJ. I just love that. And did you know at FedEx they also bind it so it looks like a professional book, like a magazine? Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right. And don't forget to bring your buyer guides. We've already got those created for our CAIL agents. We have them both in English and Spanish. They're customizable through Canva, as well as you can just have them printed on Express Docs. And again, magazine quality. So these are helpful tools that are going to help you segue into deeper conversations.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And this one is actually, I'm going to share it to you, but it's really Risa's idea, so she's letting me say it, but this is such a good idea. So if you have a laptop or an iPad, you're going to want to bring, your tablet, your laptop to to the open house, obviously to take notes, but also so that people who are there can start to search for other properties. And what you're going to use is not Zillow, not Redfin, not MRED. You're going to actually use your Real Geeks CRM. Remember, KL Realty, we provide these for agencies or custom websites for each individual agent that has the ability to search the entire MLS right from your website. So that way, people are seeing your website, they're using your website, which, by the way, when they start searching, it will ask them to create an account, just like Zillow and Redfin does. And it's a simple one-click account creation, super easy. And then that becomes a lead for you, and it drives right into your CRM. You get instantly notified about it, and then you actually see all the properties that they were looking at when you go in. So now you have this lead to follow up with, and you can even have an email automation set up. So as soon as they create an account, they get an email from you, and obviously you can do a lot of cool things with that.
Thanks so much for sharing that one, DJ. Absolutely. We don't want our agents on our potential clients on Zillow or Redfin. You want them on a site where they don't see smiling faces of realtors, just you
Yeah.
and your contact information. So when they search on your Real Geeks website, they're going to stay with you. So it's branded, you own it, keep it open, and invite that conversation so that you can learn more about what they're searching for.
Perfect. And here's another big one. Talk to everybody who walks in the door. But don't just say, let me know if you have questions, right? We all say that. But we want to use what's called the Ford method, FORD. And that stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Oh my God. So I love Ford method because it really generates a whole lot of questions that we can ask that we can learn a little bit more about them, create a relationship, form a bond, but also figure out maybe what's the problem? Why are they searching for real estate? How is real estate going to help them solve a problem? So find a common ground with them, be memorable. And I do recommend always having a notebook next to you when you're at that open house. Write notes about each person so that you can reference it in the follow-up. It makes you unforgettable.
Yeah, you absolutely want to create notes. You're going to think, I'm going to remember this when they leave. You're not. Our brains just don't work that well. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a little notepad with you. And as soon as they walk away from you, write down a couple of notes about them, because when you follow up with them, you're going to want to reference those notes and say, oh, by the way, I hope you have fun at the Cubs game this week, or whatever whatever you've talked about with them, you can reference. So number 10, this is a really important one that most agents don't think to do. And it's kind of a little top 1% producer trick, because they all do this. And this is called bring your no agency disclosures if you represent the seller. So if this is your listing, you're representing the seller, it's your open house, bring a no agency agreement. Now, it's really a compliance thing, but it builds trust. Now, Risa, for everyone that doesn't totally understand what a no agency disclosure is, can you just quickly explain that to our audience?
Absolutely. So if you are hosting the open house, you're essentially representing the seller.
Yep.
Or if you're the listing agent, you're representing the seller. You do not want to be practicing dual agency. Dual agency is when you represent the buyer and the seller, and you're really compromising that relationship. And what we know is dual agency, you're basically a paper pusher. So no agency is the solution to the problem. And so when you have a no agency disclosure, it says, hey, buyer, I'm really, I represent the seller. I'm not going to represent you, which means I cannot advise you. I could help you fill out the contract, but I will not advise you. So it's a protection device for you, and it makes it clear to the consumer who you represent.
Yeah, it's also super professional too. So you're going to say, hey, just FYI, I need you to sign this because this makes sure I'm not representing you. I'm representing this other party. And of course, just, it's a good idea to have in case anything ever goes sideways. So, I'm sorry, Risa, let's talk about what would you do if you're trying to if someone's trying to, if you think, oh, I got this other property that this one, it's not a great sort of fit for, but I got this other idea in mind. What would you do there?
All right. So it's really important for us to recognize that there's probably a recording device in this property, whether it's a camera or a recording device.
Yep.
And that seller thinks that your job is to sit at that open house and sell their house. So do not try to represent that buyer or pitch them other properties while you're at the open house. That really won't go over very well with the seller.
I was once playing in a band here in Chicago. We were playing at a show, and I was kind of new to playing shows at bars. And we had a show coming up the next week at a different bar. And I thought at the end of our set, I said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to be at such and such bar next Saturday." And I didn't think anything of it. I got off stage, and the lead singer goes, "You can never do that again." And I go, "Really? Why?" And he goes, "The bar doesn't want you promoting your show at another bar next week." And I went, "Oh my gosh,
Oh,
didn't
yes.
even occur to me." The same principle applies here. Don't promote something else because, again, you're there to promote that property. You can always meet with that client later to talk about other properties. So we're going to focus on this listing right now. But number 12, you can bring a list of similar properties with you and mention that you have other great options that you'd be happy to share after the open house.
And it's subtle, it's strategic, but it respects the seller. And just make sure that you are recognizing that there are cameras possibly watching you or listening to you the entire time you're at this open house. Don't forget to also ask the attendees for feedback. What did they like? What didn't they like? That info is really going to help that listing agent, and it does start a conversation.
Yeah, I think it's important too to set that expectation at the beginning as well. So as they're saying, as you say, "Hey, I'm gonna leave you alone once you after you've said your hello. I'm gonna let you walk through the property, enjoy it, notice what you like, maybe notice some things that maybe aren't to your liking. And when you are ready to leave, I'd love to get that feedback just so that I have a good idea of what worked for you, what doesn't work for you, because again, we want to make sure that this is the proper home for you." So this is also number 13. And I learned this when I used to work for Anheuser-Busch. When right out of college, they had a policy that when we went to an event, they said, "You leave," we were promoting their products, their beers. They would say, "Leave the event cleaner than when you found it, when you first arrived. You want it to be cleaner." So again, number 13 here, clean up the house, not only before the open, but of course after the open. You're going to want to hide, of course, personal items as well. So nobody wants to see toothbrushes or hairbrushes on the counter. Let's get all the personal items off.
I'm going to just give a pro tip here. When I would hide their toothbrushes or hairbrushes or whatever I hid, I took a picture of where I put
Yeah,
it. That
smart.
was a reminder for me. And if I left the house and I forgot to put it back, I send that to the listing agent so that the homeowner knows how to find it. So you really want to make this property feel like a hotel, kind of sterile to the point where people feel like they can move into it. And most importantly, at the end of your open house, text the listing agent. Tell them how many people came and whether they were working with an agent. And if they were working with an agent, make sure you get the name of that agent so they can follow up with that agent and get any feedback.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So if you're doing an open house for another agent, you want to make sure that you report back to them, "Here's how it went, here's how many people showed up, and here's some people that were unrepresented," because of course, you want to talk about that with them so that they know how it went. And also, this is the other thing. Don't share your lead list, right? This is your lead list. So people that came in, you're going to want to keep those for yourself. Those are your unrepresented buyers. That's your gold.
Okay, I'm going to give you one of my signature touches. I like to buy a small bouquet or a plant for the open house, and then I leave it for the homeowner if it's an occupied property with a handwritten note that just says thank you. I don't even put my name on it. It just shows professionalism, it shows respect, and just it goes a long way with that seller.
That's a great idea because you're basically, if somebody's living there, you're asking them to leave their property for a period of time. And yes, you're hoping that somebody will buy that property, but it's really an inconvenience for that owner. So that's a great suggestion and just creates a lot of goodwill. So last thing, and this goes back to my point about leaving it cleaner than you found it. Don't leave your stuff behind. Grab your brochure box, extra flyers, signs. What I would recommend, make a list of everything you're bringing into the property, and then you can check that list off as you're bringing it out of the property. It's going to be so chaotic, especially if it's a busy open house day, that you're just going to have a lot going on, and it's going to be easy to forget something. So if you've got leftover cookies, by the way, bring them to the neighbors, which is another great idea, another touch point, right? You could say, "Oh, I just was doing this open house. I have some leftover cookies for your neighbors. Here you go." And then, "Hey, by the way, what are your plans, for the next few years?"
I know we're giving you so many tips, but I'm going to tell you, I take those cookies and I put them in a Ziploc bag and I slap a sticker on it, and
Yep.
it says my contact information on that sticker. So when I'm giving that to the neighbors, they've got a little bit of a calling piece for me. So
Love it.
everybody needs to remember, an open house isn't just a moment; it's a marketing opportunity. Every touch point is going to help build your business.
Yeah, and there you have it. I mean, we literally just gave you 16 smart ways to make your open house stand out, generate real leads, and also build real relationships.
All right. Well, next week, our topic is all about follow up, because we just captured a whole lot of leads and we don't want to lose them. We want to create that opportunity. We're talking about follow up because what you do after this open house is what really turns those lookers into clients.
I would love it. So what I do here at Kale Realty, a lot of people know, is I'm in charge of, encouraging agents who don't yet work here to want to work here. And if I just talk to them once, boy, I would love it if they signed up right then and there every single time. Would make my job so much easier. But guess what? That doesn't happen very often. I mean, once in a blue moon, I get lucky, right? Like we all get lucky once in a while with our business. But the reality is the fortune is in the follow up. So we're going to dive deep into there and let you know exactly what to do so that you can convert those leads into clients. But if you loved today's tips, please share this episode with a fellow agent. Let us know how your open house splits is going.
And me, as the VP of Agent Development here at Kale Realty, all I do is help our agents get more business. And if you enjoyed all these tips today, know that I've got a lot more tips right here I want to share with you. So keep showing up, keep building relationships, and remember, this is your business. We're just here to help you grow it.
And I'll let you in on a little secret. Risa has a very special group of people that she personally works with, personally mentors, and she helps really take their business to not just the next level, but like the next 3 levels. This is what she has done in her career. She's too humble to really talk about it, but she has been doing this for like 15 or more years. It's her specialty. So if you're somebody that's like, I want to get to that, next level, and I really want some really insane, amazing training and support, reach out to Risa to see if you'd be a good fit for her special group.
Thank you, TJ. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time on Coffee Talk.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
See you next week.